All right, we do have a public hearing tonight, so we're going to ask the clerk to please read the public notice.
Please take notice that the Town Board of the Town of Warwick will hold a public hearing tonight to consider proposed introductory local law number 4 of 2022 entitled Amendment Chapter 164 Zoning to clarify several definitions and other minor modifications. Said public hearing to be held on Thursday, July 14, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. at the Town Hall, 132 Kings Highway, Warwick, New York, or soon thereafter as the matter may be heard. A complete copy of the introductory local law is available for inspection at the clerk's office and or the Town of Warwick website, townofwarwick.org. All interested persons will be given the opportunity to be heard.
Okay, so before I open for public comment, just make a couple of notes. So the hearing tonight is on a few zoning changes. The one is we defined a food truck, and the reason we defined a food truck is so that one of the accessory uses we're adding is that a eating and drinking establishment can have a food truck associated with it, because currently we don't have any regulation on that at all. We think it's a great idea. We have several examples of it around town. When you're going to have a food truck event with multiple food trucks, there's a mechanism. You get a special event permit from the town clerk's office. But we just wanted to make sure that these food trucks that associate with a restaurant have health department permits and are safe for the public to use. So we've defined it and we've added it as an accessory use in essentially all the districts. We've also defined, redefined we refined a definition of principal use. So in the town of Warwick, you can have one principal use on your property, and you can have accessory uses to it. So a shed, a pool, anything that's permitted. And that wasn't clear in the definition. It also included that you could have special permitted uses. So we allow some things to happen on residential lots. You can have a home occupation, one or two. One is more intense than one, but it's to protect the integrity of residential neighborhoods from getting too many things happening on them in the middle of a residential neighborhood where people have chosen to make their homes. And so we've clarified that decision, that definition. The other thing that we did was in the special condition that pertains to farm markets, we just clarified, we moved from number 5 in the definition up to number 1, the fact that if you're going to have outdoor music, that there's some regulations that you have to abide by, which is the town's noise ordinance as well as the hours of operation, which are 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. That just clarifies for the farm market people clearly what they're able to have and do. And then the third one was a response to complaints into the building department, which is to remove, we allow multiple animals depending on the number of acres you have. And one thing that was not addressed was roosters. So roosters can be problematic. And so the proposal is to remove them from residential lots, approved residential lots. Okay, it doesn't affect farms, it doesn't affect large acred parcels, it affects residential lots. So we're required by law to refer this to both Orange County and to the town's planning board for their comments and review. We can't act until we get those responses. We normally don't act the same night of a public hearing anyway. We usually wait at least till the following meeting. The following meeting will be on August 18th, is the earliest we would act. We did get a response from Orange County that the departments received the proposed changes and found no evidence of significant intermunicipal or countywide impacts and has no advisory comments. I did go over the changes with the planning board. I have not received their comments yet. So any questions from the board before I open it up? Okay, so I'm going to open it for public comment. We will need your name for the record, and just come forward to express your comments. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do I need to come?
Yeah, just come so we should get you on the microphone, that's all.
Dana Marie Welch.
Dana?
D-A-N-A M-A-R-I-E Welch. E-L-C-H, like the Rangers. Okay. on forever.
Yeah, no problem.
So, okay, hello everyone. My name is Dana Marie Welch. I live in the town of Warwick. I was told yesterday by the building department secretary that this rooster zoning ordinance change was already approved. She backtracked and said it was imminent when I asked for the code in writing for our third ZBA meeting regarding our coop permit scheduled for July 25th. In our conversation, she also did not notify me of the meeting today. However, upon explaining the zoning discussion, she did explain this change in zoning laws would not only impact me as a rooster owner, but that all rooster owners in the town of Warwick would now have to get rid of their roosters. Since none have been notified about this meeting, I was requesting an adjournment, thinking you were voting on it tonight. Okay, so I've repeated that like 3 times, I apologize, in the course of this writing. In the meantime, I have a written statement I would like to read. I have lived in the town of Warwick as a homeowner for 22 years. For those 22 years, roosters and hens have been legal in the town. Now I am being told that my beloved pet has to go. What is next, hens? How many noise complaint inspections are being made and fines for dogs incessantly barking? Are you going to tell people next that they can't own dogs because of the noise? Anyhow, apparently we are here today because there are too many noise complaints about roosters that the building inspectors have to deal with. Approximately 5 a day from what I've been told, a $100 fine for each noise complaint per visit. That's $500 a day times 5 days a week, which is $2,500 a week for the noise complaint and revenue. $10,000 a month for the town and $120,000 a year. How many noise complaint inspections are being made and fines accrues for dogs incessantly barking? We live in the country. I live over in Amity. Our wild songbirds wake us up in the spring around 4:30 a.m. That's an hour and a half before my rooster crows. I check the alarm every morning. Dogs bark nonstop, and they are allowed to. My neighbor's German Shepherds did it for years before they moved. And now, after our whole country experienced food shortages during COVID, the inability to buy chicken or meat for a period of time, and then for a longer period of time, having our purchases rationed due to not having enough supply for the shelves, you are all going to suddenly take away my right as an American and my neighbors' rights as Americans to raise our own food. I think you need to rethink this thought process, both from an American perspective, but also from a financial perspective, as COVID still looms and a recession is on our doorsteps. This being considered, okay, I'm asking again for the adjournment, sorry. I also wanted to make note of how this was presented to the town board agenda on June 23rd, posted on the website. New business 1, scheduled public hearing introductory local law number 4 of 2022 to amend chapter 164 zoning to clarify several definitions and other minor modifications. Had I not been in the process of reviewing codes for our ZBA meeting, I would have never even known what was coming up to vote or how it would impact my family. The wording is quite vague. How would any of town of Warwick resident being impacted have even known what was being discussed so they could have a choice in whether or not it was imperative for them to attend this meeting and speak up for their rights as an American citizen? Again, I'm asking for it to be adjourned. Sorry about that, I was kind of repetitive here. I'm still not clear on this wording other than what has been told to me, that you are voting to get rid of my right to own a rooster. And I would like a little more time to notify my fellow residents, let them know, you know, there are many rooster owners. Obviously, if there's 5 complaints a day, we have a ton of roosters. And one of the things I didn't go into was the problem that we have roosters. And the problem is New York state laws, we have to get 6 chickens. So we go to our local Wadesons, or we go to the local Tractor Supply. And I got 2 the first year. Another year, I was looking at the cute little chickens, make sure they had the water at Tractor Supply, and a woman says, I got 6 roosters when I bought mine, because they don't sex them. So the problem really aren't the roosters, the problem is that how they're distributing the chickens at Wadesons and Tractor Supplies and all the local stores. So you can change the law, and we're not gonna be allowed to have our roosters, but when we go and buy our chickens, then suddenly we have to kill animals. So you have to look at that point too. Because what am I supposed to do? Kill animals I've been raising for 3 months until I realized I have a rooster, or 2 months, or whenever they start growing? So that's really not fair, because I did call Wadesons when I got my roosters. And I said, I wanted hens. And they said, well, too bad. You know, that's really the response you get. So it's not my fault I have roosters. I do happen to love my rooster. I only have 1 now, but I did at one point have more. And I do know how to make them, you know, there's a lot of work we have to do as rooster owners. I will not deny that there's work that needs to be done, and I'm willing to do the work, but I don't think it's fair that you're gonna take away our right when you're not solving the problem. What you're doing is you're telling us to kill animals, you know. If you want to solve the problem, then address the issue at the start, which is why can't we get our own female chickens at the local stores? Most people don't know to go to McMurray Hatchery. I didn't realize that I could just buy them online. So you buy them online, and it's another extra, $50 or $100 to ship them, and some people don't have that money. If they're raising their own food, they might not have that kind of money. A chicken's $1.25, so they can go raise 10 chickens or 9 chickens and a rooster, start feeding their family on the chickens. But now that you're telling us that we can't have our rooster, we can't feed our families.
Okay,
If things get that bad, so obviously it's not.
Anyone else?
Yes,
Yep, come on. Come on up, just so we get your name.
I don't have chickens and little roosters. So, also for the audience, I would say.
Can we get your name first?
Yes, my name is Mark, M-A-R-T. First name, last name is V-A-H-A-R. V-A-H-A-R.
Thank you.
So we're talking about the chickens and the roosters here. So let's look at the podium. How many roosters and how many chickens?
Can you, sir, can you talk to us so we can?
Yes. So there is a podium. How many chickens and how many roosters? So can you people count them? How many roosters and how many chickens? I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 roosters and 1 chicken. So how about, let's forget about the roosters. No, let's forget about the chickens. Let's get rid of their husbands. Let's see how the chickens feel. Their wives, right? Yes, get rid of the roosters. So all the kids will be without their grandfathers, their fathers, their brothers. So how about that for a board meeting? Now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 roosters and 1 chicken.
So is your testimony that you're against getting rid of
That's
the
all I
roosters?
got to say.
Okay, perfect.
So,
Thank you.
okay, how about all your wives? Get rid of you,
Gotcha.
because you're roosters.
I got you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I made my point.
You did.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Well, if nothing else, at least this is entertaining.
Can we get your name?
Absolutely. James McAteer, live on Union Corners Road in the town of Florida.
Can you spell your last name?
M-C-A-T-E-E-R. Am I allowed to ask some questions? Are you guys able to answer?
We can try, but it's
Okay.
really to hear your.
That's
your
understood.
testimony.
It goes along with why I'm asking some of the things.
Okay.
Do we know how many acres are impacted by the change in ordinance? Or how many properties may be excluded from the ability to have roosters with the change in ordinance?
Not off the top of my head, there's probably, the total town of Warwick, there's 40 some odd thousand, there's 20,000 farms, there's another 8,000 acres of black dirt, I don't know.
So it's-
3,000 or 4,000, 5,000.
Arguable that a significant portion of the community is a farming community, correct?
No, I wouldn't argue that, but okay.
So-
You made your point.
Well, what's interesting is section 80-4, which pertains to farming, number 1 says, farming is encouraged in the town.
Absolutely.
So just with that context in mind and thinking about how many properties may be excluded from participating in potentially farming by eliminating the roosters, it can be quite concerning. When we're talking about changing an amendment, some of the context and the language of amendments that was already mentioned, 164-60, areas and establishments in the town that will be directly affected by such a change and what they will be affected needs to be considered by the proposed amendment. So I just want to make sure that the board considers the entirety of the properties that could be
Absolutely.
affected and how many complaints are we getting? Because if we're affecting a large number of acres or properties, but getting a small number of complaints, is that really fair? When I dig more into town code around, right, I understand that this is really about noise, right?
I'm sorry?
This is largely about noise.
It's a noise and the issue that creates among neighbors.
But the issue is noise, because hens are okay, right? We're talking about an
Correct.
animal.
You can have a certain number of fowl, correct.
So a certain number of fowl, but the ones that we're trying to eliminate are roosters.
Correct.
And the reason to eliminate them is for noise.
Correct.
So here's a little bit of statistics. Human conversation is 70 decibels. A barking dog is 90 decibels. An air conditioner runs at about 90 decibels. Screaming kids are over 100 decibels. Neighing horses are around 75 decibels. A rooster is around 90. We're not getting rid of dogs. We're not getting rid of children. We're not looking to get rid of horses. Horses can be had on a property with how many acres? Roughly 5, I believe.
Depends on, You can have 1 horse per 5.
1 horse per 5.
Then an additional horse for, I think it's 3 additional acres each.
So my concern is, why are roosters being eliminated on properties that is 10 acres? That seems quite excessive. When you,
Well, right now, there's no, it doesn't define that. Those are things that can be considered, right? So for instance, to be a farm, we talked about farms, somebody did.
7 acres, yep.
Well, 7 acres in New York, 10 acres in the town of Warwick.
Understood.
Okay, so that could be one solution.
Yep.
Right? And that's why we're here to listen to all of that, right? But the subdivision on 1 acre lots with 20 houses, and the neighbor that decides to have, you know, a couple of roosters running around can be problematic, right? For the other 19 members of the community, that's all.
Potentially, right?
Correct.
19 members of the community that moved in with this town code
Well,
being existing.
The complaints aren't from new people that moved in, that solely, they're not. Believe me or not, but they're
No,
not.
I understand.
So, it's from all different people.
So going back to noise, right? And what the noise ordinance in Warwick says is the noise should not be more than 75 decibels at the property line. If a rooster crowing is, what I want the board to consider in creating this proposed amendment, if we're trying to prevent the noise, it should be below 75 decibels at the property line. With 10 acres of property, that is quite excessive, because I live on 4 acres, I have chickens. My neighbor lives on 13 acres and he has chickens. We both have roosters. We can both hear each other's roosters. Mine is no more than 75 decibels at his property line. Neither is his to mine. But I would be eliminated from being able to have roosters because I'm on only 4 acres. But the issue of noise is the same for both neighbors. I also have 150 acres behind me, 150 acres across the street, undeveloped. I'm not the issue. So a law is being put into place which would prohibit me from having roosters because of noise, when the reality is on my property it isn't an issue. So I just want, if it's about noise, we should do a little bit more of a study to understand how many properties are being impacted and how far does a rooster crow actually go. Is this a neighborly issue where someone doesn't have the ability to go and talk to their neighbor and say, hey, your roosters are a little bit loud, can you keep them contained within certain hours of the day? I have a hen house where I could control at what time the door gets opened. If we're saying noise has to be a certain level at a certain time, I can keep my roosters locked up.
Absolutely.
So I think those things should be considered before doing a broad sweep on just to say no more roosters in the town. Because the point that she brings up is important. If you say no roosters, they will be killed. No one is taking these roosters. The Humane Society is not going to take roosters. Every school district in the town of Warwick, which includes Golden Hill in Florida and the elementary schools, hatch chickens. I have taken those chickens from the town of Warwick. So is someone else that's here with me. If I end up with 20 birds and 13 of them roosters, I will kill them all because no one will take them. So if that's the ordinance, that's the impact that ends up happening. So I just want all of those points to be considered.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
And you.
Who's next? I think you were next, right?
Yes.
And we'll get to you in the back.
Thank you.
Can we get your name just for the record?
Harold Hansen, Hansen, 65 Foley Road. Okay.
Thanks.
Everything I heard is really good, and I have to give dittos to Tanya. And I mean, it's everything that she said. I agree with. I have 16 chickens, 16 hens, and 1 rooster. I'm on 3.2 acres. The rooster does make sounds. I mean, it does in the morning. I do keep them contained until about 8:30 in the morning, which does keep it muffled a bit. Primarily, I wasn't doing it for the noise. I was doing it because I just didn't feel like getting up that early to open the door, okay? And then I let them out. But the thing is, it really kind of starting to sound like there's maybe some neighbor who's irritated another neighbor, and this is becoming like McCoy's and the Hatfields or whatever, that kind of a thing. And they're putting in these irritating kind of complaints. And I've seen this before in other towns. I think this is a bad way to go with this. One of the things is with people that are moving into this town, I think it happened after I moved in, which is about 17 acres ago, 17 years ago, I'm sorry, that when you go to sign all your papers, I believe there's a document that you sign that you're moving into a country area, into a farm area.
It depends on where not all, everybody has that, but it's
Yeah,
generally
I
related to
kind of
if
saw
you're
something
moving-
like that, though.
You're moving next to a farm.
Depends on
Yeah.
what's next year.
I mean,
If you're-
because, I mean, there are some times, I mean, where I live, I'm pretty high up, I'm at 800 feet, but every now and then the wind will come from down by, on County Route 1, where they're spreading manure, and I smell the manure, and the wind goes a certain way. I don't get on the town and call up and make a complaint because, oh my gosh, there's manure coming in, oh my God, what's gonna happen? Excuse me, this is called a country area. You drive down the road, there's a tractor riding down the road, you gotta deal with this. This is all part of the area. If you don't like it, go move to Bergen County. It's fine, it's fine. Have the whiny people down there. That's where I used to live. I mean, it's a really whining bunch of people. I used to be a councilman in towns down there, okay? But I gotta tell you, they really gotta look at this for they gotta put this in some kind of equity with dogs and other kind of animals, because they do make a lot of noise. And I think the decibel part is very important to look at. You can get a yelping dog. I used to have a neighbor with a yelping dog. The dog wouldn't shut up. I mean, the thing would not shut up. It finally died, okay, which was nice. I think he yelped himself to death, okay, which happens. But,
Okay.
you know, there should be some consideration, I think, on both sides. They should look at this. There's a lot of people that do raise these for eggs and for to feeding their families. I don't have to really do this. I mean, I do very well with this. However, there are people that do this, and it's going to, I think, impact them on another area, another level. So I think it's something I should look at, and I think they're still going to be tabling this, I guess, for another couple of meetings. So I would say that a lot of the chicken owners and people that are affected by this should be getting together and looking towards getting many more people at the next meetings to back this thing up. Because, I mean, I just found out about this at around 6 o'clock. I got a text message from a neighbor who's getting chickens. I mean, I go down my driveway, it's a long driveway. To the left of me, they have chickens. To the right of me, no chickens. Little kids, louder than their chickens. Across the street, they just got chickens. They just got 12 chickens. And they're the ones that sent it to me. And they have a rooster, but it doesn't make any sounds yet, so it's pretty good yet. The ones to the left, I can hear his rooster in the morning. It's fine. His is louder than mine until I let him out. Then he beats him up. But that's another story.
Okay.
But that's about it. So I think our chicken owners really have to get together. And I mean, I rarely come to meetings. I know, Michael, you know I don't really come to meetings and do this kind of thing, but
Okay, I
I've had
appreciate
enough
it.
meetings all my life to do, so.
Appreciate
But
your
I'll stick with this one. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's good to see you. Wait a minute, the guy in the back first. Hold on. There we go. Sorry. He was patiently waiting, so.
Good evening.
Hi, can we get your name?
Yes, Robert Ginley, Ginley. I live down on the Vernon border, a 10-lot cul-de-sac,
Yeah.
and I've been there 28 years. I have other neighbors that are there 30 years, and almost everybody's over 20. We had a new neighbor that moved in less than 2 years ago. This is my second summer of that I can't sit in my backyard because they have a rooster that's going off from 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. And now there's people over on Iron Mountain Road, which is through the things that I've been getting text messages from hearing the rooster all day long. The neighbor doesn't care. So I found out about this. I'm coming back down from Albany. I happened to get here in time for the meeting, but this is annoying, and it's annoying to multiple people. When you have roosters and it doesn't bother your neighbors, that's fine. You have your acres, there's 150 acres here and there, but if you're there and you have one person that has a rooster and it's affecting 15 neighbors, it's an issue. So
Your situation is a little different.
It is a little different,
and
but
we
it's
have
still-
taken the position. Your situation was somebody trying to establish a commercial fowl breeding operation on a residential lot. That's not permitted,
yes. but-
regardless of what we do in the next 2 months.
Well,
So that's
yes.
being addressed.
No, I understand that, but the issue is our initial complaint was the rooster.
Correct. I
And nothing's been done about the rooster, and the noise is getting worse because now people on Iron Mountain Road that I happen to know, and I'm 500 feet away from this rooster. So this isn't 100 feet, this isn't I'm 500 feet away, and I can hear it in my backyard like it's 50 feet away. Now, I don't know if the topography must echo where I live, but you have a lot of farmers here that all heard about it today. I'm sure if it's made public, you're gonna get plenty of people who come here complain about roosters. You don't need a rooster to have chickens. Chickens will lay eggs without roosters, so you can't relate the two. Oh, we're gonna get rid of hens. You don't need a rooster to have hens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, Mr. Kinley. Yes, sir.
I would have
Could I-
to debate him on the fact that you
Could we
don't
get
need.
your
Chris,
name?
Kmitchak. I'm pretty sure you missed something. You do need a rooster to have chickens. You can't hatch new chickens unless they're fertilized.
Once they're laying eggs, they continue to lay eggs.
What do you think they live for, like 1,000 years?
Look, it's
Chris,
not a debate, it's not a debate, just express what you wanted to say.
I just want to, I live on 4 acres in the town of Warwick. I have 3 young children, started raising chickens. You learn a lot of things about chickens when you start raising them. It's a lot of fun. There's a huge tick problem here. I don't want somebody coming and spraying my property for ticks and all that, all the chemicals and everything. Chickens love ticks. I like to let my chickens free range. If you let your chickens free range on East Ridge Road where I live, I found this out the hard way. Without a rooster, you're gonna lose all your chickens very quickly. The roosters protect the flock. You don't need 10 roosters, you only need 1 rooster to fertilize the eggs and protect the flock. So, I mean, his situation, I feel for you, that would drive me crazy too, but that seems like more of an enforcement issue.
And his situation is totally different.
Exactly,
Nothing
but-
to do with this at
But
all.
it's the
So-
squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So if people keep coming and nobody's enforcing the fact that they shouldn't be dealing with what they are, now we're all gonna pay the price.
No, his situation has nothing to do with this.
Well, it does have to do with if we're at a meeting and
because
that's what comes out.
His situation was somebody on a house lot in a 10-lot subdivision deciding to create a commercial chicken operation. Okay,
Yes, but
that's illegal.
but that
and
hasn't
that's
been
being-
dealt with.
And that's being corrected. Well, that's
Okay, but
because
it
it
hasn't
wasn't.
been, so now he's upset.
It
and
wasn't
then that's-
clear, because the town of Warwick is extremely farm-friendly, okay? We allow agriculture in every zone in the town of Warwick. So it appeared at first that the gentleman doing what he was trying to do over there was going to be able to do it. It was almost like a loophole until we actually looked clearly into the code and realized he could not do it. So it's nothing to do with whether you have a rooster or they have a rooster. It's totally different. His only point was where his location, not that far from that piece of property, he heard those roosters all day long. That's all his thing.
Okay,
And
I
that's the
understand that,
issue-
but
that's the issue that
That's no different
has
than a
prompted-
dog, right? A barking dog.
No, correct, but we do regulate barking dogs. So if a dog is barking for more than 20 minutes continuously, and you call the police department, they notify animal control, and those people get cited. But we're all used to being, hey, I'll go see my neighbor and ask him to take the dog and, have him stop barking, right? That's what we all used to do. A lot of people don't do that anymore. Okay, so it's a balance. We're trying to understand
I think
what
it's,
your
I think it's
needs
about
are
being
and
neighborly
what
and
everybody's
showing a
needs.
little respect to your neighbor. If you have a
Absolutely.
problematic
And in a
bird,
perfect world, we
it
all
should be
do that.
removed.
Absolutely.
But to just say no roosters in general, when, like I say, I need a rooster to protect the flock, and also, the kids love seeing the eggs hatch, having the chicken, the fresh chicks every year, and then a new batch.
Okay.
And that's
Fair enough.
not gonna happen without a rooster.
It's a good point.
And yes, you can go buy them, but I don't wanna go buy birds, I don't know where they came from and what they've been fed and all that.
Okay.
Kinda into the organic.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Yes, sir. Hi.
John Barnett,
Yeah.
How do you spell your last name?
Barnett.
Thank you.
So I've lived in Warwick my entire life. I've never had chickens before until a couple of years ago. I don't have a rooster yet. I kind of want one because, like she was saying, times are getting tough now. We had a chicken shortage. We have all sorts of stuff going on right now bad in this country. It'd be nice to breed chickens when you replace them. My birds are 4 years old now, so they'll stop laying, 2 years, 1 year? So I'm gonna need more chickens. I'd like to have a rooster and do it myself and have my own chicks get hatched. That'd be really cool. Yeah, I can go buy them, but again, what if we have bird flu again and you can't buy chickens? What if that pops up again? Is a rooster really that loud? I mean, I remember 20 years ago we had the Warwick Town ordinance for the ATVs, which was just two neighbors fighting, which was absolutely ridiculous. And now we have a town ordinance where you legally can't ride your four-wheeler within 500 feet of a property line that you don't have written permission from the owner on. I mean, every time are we just gonna cave to one person being annoyed? I mean, like he said too, kids are loud, dogs are loud. My lawnmower's loud. What's the noise ordinance, 7 a.m.? 7:10, so I can start my lawnmower up at 7:10, no problem. But one chicken, one rooster, come on. That's all I have.
Thank you. Somebody else had a hand. Yes, ma'am. Can we get your name?
Oh, yeah, my name is Solveig Umbach, U-M-B-A-C-H.
A-C-H.
First name is Solveig, S-O, Anderson, Leonard, Lee, Victor, E-I-G.
Very good, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I just found out about this afternoon.
Okay.
And I find it very upsetting because we moved out here from the city for the country and for this environment, this whole totally bucolic area.
Uh-huh.
And my children went to school here, and they got little fuzzballs when they hatched the eggs, and we got 2 of those at home, and they were called Henry and Henrietta. And everybody loved them, and they learned a lot from taking care of the chickens.
Uh-huh.
And I just hate to see so many children being deprived of having the same opportunity. I mean, we live in the country.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I think the new ordinance is absolutely absurd if it happens. And also, I want to make a point about the acreage. I mean, you can have 20 acres, and you put the chicken coop on the edge.
Well, there is setback requirements for that.
For how much?
What's that?
You see, you run into other problems too. I mean, you ask that they have 10 acres, 5 acres. But who tells you where you put the chicken coop? There's several problems that
Well,
arise.
the ordinance
with
tells you
this.
where to put, how far to put the chicken coop.
Okay.
So there is regulations on that.
Well, that's very good to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah.
But still, I hope we can come up with some better solutions
Okay.
for this.
I appreciate
That's all I
that.
wanted to add my comments to that.
Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Yeah.
Somebody else, I saw a hand up somewhere. Yes, we'll go here and then I'll go to back in the back.
Sarah Baxter.
Got it?
I don't have a rooster, but I have the right to have a rooster in this town. And that's one of the things that I moved here for. I actually closed on my house right before the pandemic, and I moved here for a bit of the country life. And I did actually call the building department beforehand to talk about my land and what I was allowed and not allowed to have. And one of the things I was allowed to have was hens and have a rooster. I think also what really bothers me about this is the fact that I just found out about this about an hour ago, and perhaps that's some negligence on my part that I don't know where I should be following up to find out what rules are changing in this town. But
Well, we try to use the media we have to put out what's happening.
okay, but it was very
the-
vaguely worded, it seems.
The day, June, somebody quoted it, June, whatever it was, right, when that resolution was passed to hold this hearing, these changes go up on the website automatically.
Okay, so
Okay, so-
everyone in the town of Warwick is a potential rooster owner? Yeah?
In theory,
Yeah, so
if you have enough, I think you need a
it's
minimum
a lot of people.
number of acres. but
Correct.
okay.
We just talked, someone earlier talked about how many households there are in Warwick. I'm just saying that it just seems that there's not very much information. I mean, what are these, and the whole noise thing. How many complaints are we talking about? Are we greasing the squeaky wheel? I mean, I feel like there should be more shared with us as residents of the town if we're gonna be changing a rule about what these complaints are. Because it does seem like a lot of them could be just neighbor issues or situational issues that could be resolved on a smaller scale. And that was an interesting point about having the 10 acres and having the setback. I think the So if you said you needed 10 acres to have a rooster, right? Well, the setback's currently at 100?
5 feet.
It's 5 feet?
Yep.
So I could just put my rooster right on the edge of my 10 acres, and that's not going to change the noise that's produced from it. I just don't think that you're going about this the correct way. Also, I'm an animal lover, I'm a vegetarian, and I hate to think of all these people having to kill the roosters just because you decided you don't want roosters. For what reason? I'm not really hearing a really strong reason. I keep hearing a noise violation, but you're not giving me numbers or any facts about how many, violations we're having or where they're coming from, what kind of neighborhoods, acreage, stuff like that. I just think that, as she said, that everyone in the township should be informed about this, that more people should have the right to make a decision about this, and I think it's wrong.
Okay,
obviously.
thank you. Thanks. Somebody else? Yes, in the back.
Hi folks, my name is Joe Pillmeyer, live at 274 Round Hill Road. I've had neighbors that have chickens through the years. Again, like Chris, born and raised here in Florida, New York. And I don't know if this is the proper place to bring this up, Michael. I had gone to the workshop back in April, but folks, if you want noise, you should have a solid waste facility located in your residential neighborhood. What I have is an oil tank company that produces a lot of noise.
All right, Joe, you should do that. Can we do that later in the meeting?
Absolutely,
Right.
Absolutely.
This is the hearing on the chicken.
Okay, and I wondered about that,
Yeah.
but,
We'll give you an opportunity, but.
okay, thank you. But with my experience with chickens, folks, count your blessings, because one chicken, yeah, I know it's loud. I've had a neighbor that had a lot of fowl years ago, and he was very close to me. It was very upsetting, but he was an elderly neighbor, and after talking to Mike years ago, he pointed that out, that's all the old guy had. Maybe we should just try to get along as neighbors and accept that one rooster is probably not that big a deal.
Thank you, Joe. Anyone else? Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll take comment for the next, till the 18th of August. Written comments, submit it. You can drop it off, you can email it, however you want to do it. If you want to put any additional comments, that this is all on the record, okay? And then we'll hold this hearing open until the 18th.
Okay, thank you.
All right? Anyone else? You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but at this point, we're going to move into the regular meeting. Give you a couple of minutes. Those who want to leave, you can leave. Take care, Harold.
The door on the left's the
Good
best
seeing
one.
you.
Door on the left. Door on the left. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let me have the clerk call the roll first.
Supervisor Sweeten?
Here.
Councilman Gerstner?
Here.
Councilman D'Angelo?
Here.
Councilman Cole?
Here.
Councilman Shuback?
Here.
DPW Commissioner Astorino? Police Chief Rader? Detective Sergeant Morley?
Okay, at this time, I'd ask Chief Rader to come forward for a presentation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. So tonight, the police department's happy to introduce our newest officer, K-9 Fritz. Derek, you want to come forward? Thank you. Fritz is a 1-year-old Belgian Malinois and has just completed 16 weeks of basic patrol training with his handler, Officer Derek Kirstner. This fall, Officer Kirstner and K-9 Fritz will complete narcotics detection training as well. I wanted to thank the board tonight for supporting this program, and I also want to thank our K-9 coordinator, Officer Kevin Halsey, who was instrumental in securing the grant funding to purchase Fritz. So police K-9s are characterized by their drive to work, their willingness to get the job done, and most importantly, to never give up. Police K-9s are often named after an officer who has passed away or died in the line of duty. When we knew we were getting a new dog for the department, we thought back to an officer who was all of those characteristics that I just described. Fred Bramick was a police officer here from 1982 until he passed away in 2015. I knew Fred since I was a kid and always knew that his family called him Fritzy or just Fritz. So we're happy to have Fred's wife, Diane, here tonight to join us in welcoming Fritz to the department, and we know that he will continue on the same way Fred did for all his years of service to us.
Let me watch.
Thank you.
Congratulations, officer.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay, so let's have a motion to accept the minutes of June 23rd.
So moved. Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Correspondence is summarized on pages 1 and 2. I don't have any discussion of those. Anyone else? All right, then, do you have a report from the Pine Island Rec Committee?
We're in week 3, few glitches, so it's really good. A lot of people are not happy that the park is closed, but it's going well.
But it's going well. Good. Thank you for that. All right, let's move into reports and hear from Councilman D'Angelo.
Okay, good evening. The Town of Warwick Police Department has had following calls for the month of June. A town outside of Greenwood Lake, 118. Greenwood Lake proper is 569. Pine Island is 288. Village of Warwick is 500, and Greenwood Lake Ambulance has 74, for a total for the month of June of 1,549. Chief, do you have anything you want to add? Okay, thank you. Okay, from the Warwick Humane Society, construction continues without interruption for the new shelter facility. They're having a problem right now, though. All visitors and adoptions, redemptions must continue by appointment only, as they're operating out of 2 locations. And the rent for those 2 locations is costing them over $5,000 a month, so they're running into a serious shortage of funds. They just want to remind the residents that all dogs are required to be licensed and are obtained at the town clerk's office with proof of current rabies vaccinations, and dog licenses have to be reviewed on an annual basis. And New York state law also requires owners of cats, dogs, and ferrets to be currently vaccinated against rabies, which is a public health benefit as well. Veterinarians and clinics offer these services. And Susan Barron, the president, asked me to just warn people about heat stroke in pets because it can cause organ damage and death, and keep your pets cool and comfortable with clean water available on all times during the hot months, and especially don't leave them in a car on a hot day. The best advice is to leave your pets home and leave them unattended, rather than leave them unattended in a vehicle. They currently have caring for 5 dogs, 36 adult cats, 22 kittens, 4 rabbits, 2 horses. And total in shelter care is 69, plus they have 5 pets in foster care. And they're really very in need of your donations. That's all I have for the Humane Society. The Town of Warwick Friendly Visitor Program, they had 27 neighbors serviced this month. The number of volunteers assisting those neighbors was 29. Total number of services provided was 163. They're constantly in need of volunteers. And the next training will be on Thursday, July 28th at 10 p.m. I'm so sorry, 10 a.m. Tuesday, August 9th at 5:30 p.m. and Thursday, August 25th at 10:30 p.m. So if you can help, please call 845-986-1124, extension 400 to volunteer. And the volunteer training is all done, what do you call it, on the Zoom program. Remotely, so.
Okay, great. Thank you. Councilman Cole?
Thank you. Well, we're happy to announce that tomorrow, July 15th, the Cuts Camp is opening back up to the public. The pickleball courts are opened up at 9 o'clock, closing at 6. The pools are open at 10 o'clock, closing at 6, and the pools are open to all Warwick residents and all Warwick school students. The lake is back open. You have to get the keys like you used to from the town clerk for the permit and for the access to the lake. And we're glad we have such great weather for our opening weekend. It was just a little bit of a delay because of the movie operation up there, but that inconvenience hopefully will go a long way for paying for a lot of the renovations that we're doing up there. So maybe we lost a few weeks of access, but we've got a lovely summer coming up, and we can have a new facilities that we can enjoy again.
Great, thank you. Councilman Gerstner?
Hi, Mr. Supervisor. DPW is always remaining busy doing culvert pipe on Black Rock Road. It's a 12-inch by 40-foot pipe. They're doing ditch work, cleaning ditches on Bowen, Conklin, Black Rock, mowing the roadsides town-wide, filling potholes with hot mix, repairing road edges, doing replacing town signs as needed, hauling material, and also mowing and maintaining our town parks. Commissioner, anything else?
Just that we will be chip sealing next week, a few roads, just for the residents, understand there may be some delays, but should go for 2-3 days, we should be done.
Thank you. And then also we put a, you want to?
Yeah, up in Cascade Park today, we installed a bear-proof garbage can. I give kudos to our mechanic, Orvinsky, who constructed it basically from a photo, and we installed it up there today, and the Cascade Park group that we work with are going to paint it and stencil it, so it should keep the bears out of the garbage up there from that on.
Great. Thank you.
Councilman Schuback?
Right now, just want to let people know that with all the parks, we're in severe drought, so you're going to see some of the parks turn brown. Just like people's lawns, they will green up when we get some rain again. So just, the amount of water we would have to put on to try to keep them green is insane and impractical, but they will green back up again come fall time, or hopefully when we get rain soon.
Thank you. Town clerk's report.
Okay, the fees collected for June 2022 were $9,402.59. and the fees paid out were $3,419.78. We do have listed here the unofficial results for the election for June 28th primary. You can also get them on the Board of
OrangeCountyGov.com/elections.
Okay, and also we have a couple of bids. First, we have a rebid proposal for the installation and replacement filters for the sand filtration system for the Warwick Sanitary Sewer Plant number 1. The first one was from TAM Enterprises, Inc. for $182,000, and the second was Environmental Consultants for $74,095. We also had to rebid for a proposal for replacement of the ultraviolet disinfection system to Warwick Sanitary Sewer Plant number 1. The first was from TAM for $290,980, and the second was from Glasgow UV LLC for $260,000. Next rebid proposal for replacement of roof shingles on the Town Hall building at 132 Kings Highway. The first was from Armortite Construction Corporation for $211,000, and the second was Precision Roofing Inc. for $218,000. The next bid proposal was for the kitchen equipment at the former Coots Camp. First is from New Jersey Restaurant Equipment Corp. for $31,566. The second is from Wholesale Food Equipment Inc. for $35,513.86. And the last was from State Fire Equipment LLC for $36,011. The next bid proposal is for testing of kitchen fire suppression system at the former Coots Camp. The first was from Brandy's Fire and Safety Equipment Inc. for $852.05. And the second is from Campbell Fire Protection for $1,675. And the last was from State Fire Equipment LLC for $607. The next bid proposal was for the deep cleaning of kitchen at the former Coots Camp. First is from Safeguard Environment Corp. for $2,500, also with a steam clean addendum of $6,500. The second is from Anago Cleaning Service for $1,200, and the third was from Military Standard Cleaning for $3,200. The last bid proposal is for the hood cleaning of the kitchen at the former Coots Camp. First is from Safeguard Environment Corp. for $825. The second is Military Standard Cleaning for $1,200, and the last is State Fire Equipment LLC for $425.
All right, thank you. Supervisor's report. Just report that we're going to put up on the town's website at townofwarwick.org. We took the 12 most likely candidates of names that were submitted for renaming the Coots Camp. We're going to put them up on a poll. You'll also have an other choice. And we're just going to ask the public to respond, see what they feel, best name that's potential for the camp, because we can't keep calling it the former Coots Camp. So look for that poll. We'll try to publicize it, and we'll probably let it go for a month or so. Senior barbecue is our time when we give back to the seniors in our community. Any senior in the town of Warwick is free to attend on August 23rd. It's a Tuesday at the town park at Union Corners Road. We feed them with a full luncheon, chicken barbecue, and have a lot of activities, a lot of fun. So if you know a senior, they can just come in to here and get a ticket, and again, it's free to them. So journal entries for the board were made with the controller, and they were all checked in order. So we do start our audit, our annual audit, next week. I'll keep you apprised of all of that. And my corner is published in the dispatch and portions in the advertiser as it permits. So that's the end of my report, and I would ask if there's anybody has a question on the agenda, any items on the agenda. So seeing none, I'm going to make a motion to adopt the resolution to accept the bid proposal from Glasgow UV LLC to replace the ultraviolet disinfection system for the Warwick Sanitary Sewer Plant number 1 at a cost not to exceed $260,000.
Second.
Any discussion? We are under a notice of violation from DEC, even though our permit allows us to treat it with chlorine. They want the UV system installed, so we're doing that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion to adopt the resolution to accept the bid proposal for environmental consultants for the installation of the replacement filters for the sand filtration system at at the Warwick Sanitary Sewer Plant Number 1 at a cost not to exceed $74,095.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. And I make a motion to adopt the resolution to accept the proposal from Evaqua for sand filter replacement equipment as the sole source at an amount not to exceed $44,002.10.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. I have a motion on a request.
Motion to adopt a resolution granting permission to Lisa Ryan to serve alcohol at the Wickham Woodland Manor on July 30th, 2022 for a family party. Certificate of liability and liquor liability of insurance is on file in the clerk's office.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion on another request.
Motion to adopt a resolution granting permission to Torrin Onity to serve alcohol at the Wickham Woodland Manor on August 27th, 2022 for a family party. Certificate of liquor liability and liquor liability insurance is on file in the clerk's office.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. I make a motion to adopt the resolution to reclassify a part-time dollar bus position to a full-time dollar bus position.
Second.
Discussion comes at the recommendation of the transportation manager because of the expansion of the system. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. I make a motion to amend a resolution R 2022-209 to appoint full-time dollar bus driver Susan Fiaro from effective start date of July 11 to effective start date of July 18, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion on promotions and appointments.
Motion to adopt a resolution to promote the following senior lifeguards and appoint lifeguard for the summer of 2022 season at the Cuts Camp Pool. Mia Diaz, senior lifeguard at $16.75. Stephen Goldstein, senior lifeguard for $16.75. Gavin Glynn, senior lifeguard, $16.75. Eliana Matzel, a senior lifeguard for $16.75. Anastasia Kanyanchka, lifeguard for $15.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion to accept the bid.
Motion to adopt a resolution to accept a bid from Classic Cleaning for the stripping and waxing of the floors in the Warwick Town Hall and the Warwick Police Department at an amount not to exceed $8,313.75.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion on authorization.
Motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign an addendum with the Greenwood Lake Free School District for police services from July 1st through August 31st, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? This is to cover this office here during the summer period for the school. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. I make a motion to adopt the resolution to authorize the following budget transfer for the purchase of the HP Designer Jet T830 map printer from Records Management, part-time A00001989-154 to Records Management Equipment A00001989-200 in the amount of $5,000.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. I make a motion to adopt the resolution to authorize the following budget transfer for the purpose of station renovations from contingency B02-001990-410 to renovation supplies B02-006-1620-400 in the amount of $6,500.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Motion on extended appointment.
Motion to adopt a resolution to extend the appointment of Thomas F. McGovern as a part-time clerk for the Warwick Police Department to August 1st, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion on a part-time floating clerical position.
Motion to adopt a resolution appointing Jennifer O'Connor to a part-time floating clerical position at a pay rate of $17 per hour effective July 16th, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion on authorization.
Motion to adopt a resolution to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with the Village of Florida for services of the court clerk on as needed basis in the absence of the village court clerk for a period of June 10th, 2022 through April 3rd, 2023.
Second.
This is for us to help the Village of Florida when they have an issue with the court, their own court clerk. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? All in favor? Passed. Motion on authorization.
Motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign an intermunicipal agreement for the joint acquisition ownership of real property known as Section 113, Block 4, lots 2.12, 2.22, and 16, for the purpose of expanding upon the existing open space and preservation of the Village of Florida and Town of Warwick character.
Second.
Okay, it's discussion. This was the Rosenberg property. We've already had the hearing and approved acquiring it, and this just formalizes the agreement to share with the Village of Florida in that endeavor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I make a motion to adopt the following resolution, whereas the Town Board of the Town of Warwick is considering adoption of local law amending the Town of Warwick zoning law to clarify zoning definitions, the need for temporary outdoor public gathering permits when on-farm festivals involve music, and to require an annual food truck permit in order to operate in Warwick. And whereas the environmental assessment form dated July 12, 2022 was prepared to address the adoption of the local law, and whereas after comparing the thresholds contained in 6 NYCR 617.4 and 5, the Town Board has determined the proposed action is a type 1 because it includes the adoption of changes in the allowable uses within any zoning district affecting 25 or more acres of the district. And whereas after examining the EAF, the Town Board has determined that there are no other involved under federal agencies on the matter. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board hereby declares itself lead agency for the review of the action. Be it further resolved that a determination of significance will be made at such time as all information has been reviewed by the Town Board to enable it to determine whether the action will or not have a significant effect on the environment.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I make a motion to adopt the following resolution, whereas the Town Board of the Town of Warwick is the secret lead agency for conducting the environmental review of the proposed set of amendments to the town zoning law entitled Local Law Number 4, 2022, which will apply solely within the Town of Warwick, Orange County, New York. Whereas there are no other involved agencies on the action or federal agencies pursuant to seeker, whereas the Town Board has prepared a long environmental assessment form, EAF, for this type 1 action dated July 12, 2022, includes parts 1, 2, and 3. Whereas the Town Board has reviewed the criteria for determining significance found in 617.7C of the seeker regulations. The probable environmental effects of the action has been considered, and such impacts as disclosed in the EAF. And therefore, be it resolved, the Town Board adopts the findings and conclusions relating to probable environmental effects contained within the attached full EAF and negative declaration, and authorizes the Town Supervisor to execute the full EAF and file a negative declaration in accordance with the applicable provisions of law. Be it further resolved, the Town Board authorizes the Town Supervisor to take such further steps as might be necessary to discharge the lead agency responsible on this action.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion on approval.
Motion to adopt a resolution to approve a memorandum of agreement dated June 21, 2022, with the Warwick Police Benevolent Association, PBA, in terms of a contract effective January 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2025.
Second.
Discussion. I want to thank Councilman Gershner and D'Angelo and Chief Rader for being part of the team, and I want to thank the Warwick PBA for their good faith negotiations and concluding what I think is a very fair and equitable contract for our department. So thank you all. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion on authorization.
Motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign an agreement with the Orange County Land Trust for monitoring CPF and PDR properties in the town of Warwick.
Second.
Any discussion? This is something we do annually, required by the easements we hold on our 38 farms. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion on a special event.
Motion to adopt a resolution granting permission to the Bear Mountain chapter of the Antique Motorcycle Club of America to host a motorcycle flea market on September 11th, 2022 from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Pine Island American Legion, Post 16 at 16 Legion Road, Pine Island, New York. All New York State regulations, recommendation mandates must be followed.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion to accept the bid.
Motion to adopt a resolution to accept the bid from New Jersey Restaurant Equipment Corporation for kitchen equipment at the former Cuts Camp not to exceed an amount of $31,566. Equipment to be paid from the proceeds from the recent film production.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Motion to accept the bid.
Motion to adopt a resolution to accept bid proposal from State Fire Equipment LLC Fire and Safety Equipment, Inc. for the testing of the kitchen fire suppression system in amount not to exceed $607 at the former Cuts Camp. Proceeds from recent filming production will cover the cost.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion to accept the bid.
Motion to adopt the,
Good, sorry.
motion to adopt a resolution to accept the bid proposal from Safeguard for deep cleaning the entire kitchen area and hoods in the amount not to exceed $9,000 at the former Cuts Camp. Proceeds from the recent filming production will cover the cost.
Second.
All right, can I have that amended to say for the deep cleaning and steam cleaning of the entire kitchen area in an amount not to exceed 9,000? Make that amendment?
I will make that amendment.
I'll amend the second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Motion to accept the proposal.
Motion to adopt the resolution to accept bid proposal from State Fire Equipment LLC for hood cleaning in amount not to exceed $425 at the former Cuts Camp. Proceeds from recent filming production will cover the cost.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. There's one resolution that came in late as a result of a settlement of a tax certiorari matter before the the Orange County Supreme Court Goshen. So I'd like to present that to the board. Whereas ShopRite Supermarkets, Inc., Warwick Market Owners, LLC, has commenced tax certiorari proceedings against the town of Warwick in the Supreme Court of State of New York, County of Orange for 2021, 22, 23 tax assessment years bearing Orange County Index Number EF 00340922020, EF 0048022021, and EF 00378922022, whereas it appears from the recommendations of the town assessor and Kara J. Cavella, Esquire of Jacobitz and Gubitz LLP, counsel for the town of Warwick. In the aforesaid proceedings, upon a thorough investigation of the claims that further proceedings and litigation by the town would involve considerable expense, with the attendant uncertainty of the outcome and the settlement of the above matter are more fully set forth below as reasonable and in the best interest of the town. Whereas ShopRite Supermarkets, Inc., Warwick Market Owners, LLC, is willing to settle these proceedings without interest, costs, or disbursements in the following manner. One, that the proceedings for 2021 tax year will be compromised and settled without change for tax map 5116.21. Two, that the proceedings for 21-22 tax year be compromised and settled without change for tax map 51-1-6.21. Three, that the proceedings for the 22-23 tax year will be compromised and settled by the assessment being reduced from $1,562,200 to a total assessment of $1,438,900 for the tax map number 5-1-6.21. And four, that the petitioner's real property taxes on said parcel above described for the 2021, 21, 22, 22, 23 school taxes and for the 21, 22, and 23 county and town taxes be adjusted accordingly, and the petitioner be reimbursed for any overpayment or be credited with the corresponding decrease in taxes as the case may be. Now therefore be it resolved that the proposed settlement as set forth and described above is hereby accepted pursuant to section 68 of town law, and it is further resolved that Deborah Urick, assessor of the town of Warwick, Cavallo, Esquire, on behalf of Jacobitz and Gubitz LLP, be and they hereby are designated to represent the town in this matter.
Second.
Any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, so all in favor, 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 abstention. Motion carries. Motion to pay the duly audited bills.
So move.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, at this point in time is when anybody would like to say anything. So Joe, you're on if you got it.
Look, I know I spoke to you at a workshop back in April.
Yep.
Concerning property over at 276 Rockville Road. At that time, Michael, you said that if the permit, not the permit, if the application wasn't brought in a timely manner, that they wouldn't be able to operate, that you would shut them down, basically. And as I understand, when I called Ben, that the application wasn't submitted in a timely.
They're waiting on their engineer to provide their survey, that we know that the engineer's been engaged because we've been in touch with them. So they're working on the survey. So in those procedures, we give the applicant a time to do this, right? That's what we've done historically with everybody. If they're proceeding, my comment to you was if they don't submit an application, ignore us, yes, there's no question. So they are proceeding. We know that they are because we've talked to their engineers. They're providing a site plan to go to the planning board. And when they go before the planning board, that's the opportunity that adjacent landowners, residents who have issues can bring them for the planning board's consideration, who they have the ability to put whatever restrictions they feel are reasonable.
How long will that application, how long does that take?
Well, we're not gonna, it's not gonna be months. It's, I mean, we know that they missed this deadline, so the planning board meets twice a month. So we'll be on them. They know they have to do it. I'm sorry?
I believe it's
in August, okay.
I think they're submitted for the second meeting in August.
You should be getting a notification since you live next to it.
They didn't submit yet. I did speak to their engineer. He assured me they will be submitting for the meeting in August, which will be our second meeting in August.
And of course, noise is one of the issues that is addressed.
There will be a public hearing.
And that's when you want to get that out for the planning board, because they're the ones that are going to have the authority to do whatever is required.
Can I ask you a silly question, Mike?
Yeah.
Does the town board have the authority to shut a business down?
No, the process is you notice them of a violation, and you see if they respond. They don't respond, they usually get a second notice of violation. And when they don't respond to that, they get an appearance ticket to go to justice court. And in justice court, generally at that point it gets resolved, although I will tell you in justice court, somebody that's before the judge, if they're smart and they hire a good lawyer, can drag that process out quite a long time. So that's not really the best avenue. The best avenue is to get cooperation. And in this case, we have the cooperation to get a planning board application to the planning board. That's what you need to have done, because then you have your opportunity to say what it is that's affecting you.
There are obvious zoning code violations at this spot, this place of business. Shouldn't that be addressed? Even up to, isn't the violation itself supposed to be posted at this place of business?
I don't think we have a requirement to post a violation.
I did see it in the ordinances where,
I'll have to research that, Joe. I honestly don't know that.
there's
I've
a lot there.
never known us to post a notice of violation on a piece of property. I just haven't, but we'll do stop work orders if we're stopping work. That's not what we're doing here, because again, the applicant has expressed willingness to come into compliance.
I understand, Michael, and thank you for your help, and,
Yeah, we'll get there. I know it's been a long road for you, and I know it's been ups and downs, and hopefully this is coming to conclusion in August.
well, it is troubling. There's a lot of noise associated with this business, and it's right there. There's no noise buffers, there's nothing.
Well, those are all those things you need to bring up to the planning board when you get that opportunity. Okay?
Thank you.
You're very welcome, and thanks for staying for that portion of the meeting. Any other questions,
Door
concerns?
on the left.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Everybody have a great
Thank you all for
evening.
coming.
This is already the pictures, putting it back to the